and I had to decide what I was going to do. Was I going to go to university? We had national service here, the army. Was I going to go and study? And I eventually went and did my national service 2 years. We had to do it back then. And then I went and studied. And what I studied was um, the things that I've been talking about here, the creative things, the movies and the creating comics and stuff. All that it hadn't been forgotten, but I'll tell you what happened is that there wasn't much in 1985 in this country, and probably globally, but definitely in this country, there was not much. We didn't get TV, and South Africa didn't get TV until 1975. So there was no animation here. Um, there was no industry, if you want to call it that. It's totally changed now. Animation in this country is huge. We got some very big studios, two very world class studios. One's won an Oscar. So it's changed in the years. But when I was young, when I was 17, 18, 19, there was no option to do animation. It wasn't available. If you wanted to do animation or anything like manga or draw comics or whatever, you had to go to France. It was huge there. Belgium, obviously, where Hergé and Tintin came from, and some of the best comics and cartoons came from. And the States or Japan, go and do manga over there. But otherwise, it was unavailable. It's a different world now. A lot has happened, a lot has changed, and I'm talking to you on this thing, the internet. The World Wide Web. It only came into being, I don't know, in the 90s. So it was not available. So the world was very different then. So with this reality, I went and the chances of me getting into Disney, going that route, I wasn't good enough, and it was impossible. I did a couple of years of French. There was a half a thought in my little brain back then of going to Belgium or France and following this career path. But to be honest with you, I was terrified of going that path because it was so difficult. So I never did it. And instead, I went and I studied something very practical, which I was very much encouraged to do by my parents, to go and get something that's professional that you could rely on. And so I did. And I did engineering, I did civil engineering. I became a land surveyor, and I worked at that until I was 30, right? So between say 12, 13, that kid shooting video on his grandmother's windy 16 mil and editing, and the kid before that doing the cartoon comics, the Tintin style comics and stuff, and all these things with the shoebox. 10 years later, 12 years later, I went off and studied something very different, something I honestly had no interest in. And a lot of people do this. They feel they have to do something, so they go and do it. They study whatever it is, medicine, law, whatever, and their heart's not in it. Well, my heart wasn't in it. So I struggled to stay. I had a steady job, had a good job, very good job. And I did that until I actually couldn't do it anymore. And that was when I turned 30. I decided I can't do this for the rest of my life. My heart's not in it. The salary's good. You got a car, you got a house, you got all the trimmings that go with that. But it wasn't me. It wasn't that child. Wasn't in me. Wasn't my passion, as they call it today. So I just quit,